Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of The Silver Lining, Halloween edition. I'm Kevin Ashley with my co hosts.
Ooh.
I'm Nicole Littlefield.
And I'm Danny Oliveris.
And
Welcome to The Silver Lining, episode 2.
Spooky edition.
Spooky edition. What have you guys been up to?
Well, work, and work, a lot of work.
Yeah, basically the same. Online classes have been, going as can be expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you guys taking any hybrid classes? Or are you guys all taking just online classes?
Just online.
I feel like we talked
Just
about this
online.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we talked about this last week.
Yeah. But yeah, basically this college life just is what it is at the moment. However, is anyone doing anything for Halloween in particular?
I'm
ahead.
actually sewing my skirt for my costume. I'm going to be Velma from Scooby-Doo. One of my friends is going to be Daphne. And then
That's amazing. I could see you as Velma.
And then my dog has the same color scheme as Scooby, so I'm going to make her my Scooby.
Oh, what breed's your dog?
She's a German Shepherd, so she's not the same breed, but she's got the brown and the black, so I'm okay with it.
Is Scooby a
Cool.
Great Dane?
Quite honestly, I do not know.
I feel like
I
he's
have
a
no
Great
idea.
Dane. And if he is a Great, have you guys ever seen a Great Dane in person?
They're big.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are not dogs. Those are miniature horses. A toddler could ride that thing into battle. It's ridiculous.
I remember liking the Scooby-Doo cartoons, but weren't the movies total crap? All the live action movies, they were just complete and utter ass.
They have cult followings. I remember that one Scooby-Doo movie where it was just they were on this Paradise Island, but there was a bunch of monster things or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that's the
most
I remember.
One. Yeah.
There's that one, and then there's one where all of their past monsters they've captured before have all come back, but now real and not people in costumes.
The only thing that I am aware of about the live action ones is, besides the Paradise Island one, is that I can't remember. I'm blanking on that actress's name, and I only know her from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sarah Michelle Gellar, and the guy who she plays Daphne in the live action, and the guy who plays Freddy, I think his name is oh crap, it's Prince Jr. or something like that. I cannot remember his first name, but they got married in real life, and I don't know why that shocked me, but it did.
That makes me a bit happy.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing how that all comes together.
That's interesting. Yeah.
The only good thing to come out.
The good thing to come out of that, those shitty live action Scooby-Doo memes are the Scooby-Doo memes. That Shaggy meme.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that around. I think that was big a few months ago. And
that was big for half the year at one point.
Yeah, it's because it keeps coming back. It's it'll be Shaggy's too strong, you can't destroy my meme, and then he comes back.
Oh yeah, it's I only created Shaggy the universe meme, with 20% of my power type stuff.
Yeah.
Forgot about those.
There's been so many major memes that have come and gone over the years. Yeah. The internet is an ever evolving and changing thing, and it's so weird like that. Anyone have any Halloween traditions?
Not necessarily a tradition, but I, like everybody else, I tend to get into that creepy mood, right? So I put on all my slasher films and been going through all of those as of late. I worked my way through most of the Child's Plays, going through the Friday the 13th, and who knows what else I'm gonna watch. Watched Sleepy Hollow a couple of days ago. That's a great movie too.
Is that any good?
I love it. I love the movie.
I love it, and I actually don't really do scary movies. This weekend, my brother kind of forced me to watch some psychological thrillers, which I figured out that I'm really not that scared of. Like, it's just they make me annoyed because I just have more questions.
Yeah.
And which I get is kind of the point, but that's why I don't like them, is because they make my mind overactive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really love Sleepy Hollow. I thought it was a great movie. It's one of those movies that I watched as a kid, and like I've always continuously gone back and rewatched it like at least once or twice a year. And yeah, I mean Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci, Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. You know, has no
Mhm.
lines other than like just screaming and yelling into the camera, but it's fucking great. I love it.
That's
Definitely
like
check it out, Kevin.
dream role, is just having to scream.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. I don't really have like a lot of like Halloween tradition. I guess the only like Halloween tradition that I have that like I personally do is that every year I wear like this one costume that I have in my closet. It involves like a cape and like this like voodoo staff. It's like a vampire getup that I wear, and I only do it at Halloween. And funny enough, each time that I've worn that outfit, it's always been to like a different social gathering with a different group of people. So no one has ever seen the costume twice.
Is there like a specific reason for that, or is it like by design? Is
It's
it
by
just coincidence, or
circumstances. It's all
uh,
coincidences. Like each time I've worn it, it's always been a different group of people, and not because like I just hang out with different groups of people, just because like it's always something different that's happening. Like this time around, I know some people who are like doing like a small gathering because like trying to be conscious because of COVID, and like they have like a very like tight bubble where they keep it because like two people in the it's a house full of roommates and two people there have like immunocompromised, so getting COVID could be like a death sentence. So what they're doing is that they're letting in like a handful of people into their little bubble to have like a Halloween get together, but it's like about like casual laissez-faire and on like a banger or whatever, just like a group of friends coming together. And yeah, I got invited, so I'm wearing that getup, and none of them have seen it. Just like the year prior, and the
yeah.
year after that, and the year after that.
So what's the inspiration behind the costume and get up and all that?
So originally, what I did for the costume is that I'd go as I forget what year this was. It was probably like the 70s or the 60s. There was this movie that came out called Blackula.
Uh-huh.
It's basically Black Dracula, and
Uh-huh.
it was during that like time period where there was basically like black everything. Like there
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
black person of this, black person of that, since like black people weren't really welcomed in society that much. And yeah, so white people had, well, Dracula, so we made Blackula, and it's just a
yeah.
thing. And for the first few years of me doing the costume, that's what I properly went as. I was Blackula. But then as time went on, I was like, you know what? I'm just a black vampire. I'm going to call it that. Like, there's no point
Yeah.
in referencing Blackula that no one has heard about.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you worn other costumes before, or is this like are you the type of person that dresses up every year and like or what?
The only time, the only two other times I've worn like a different costume is when but the first time I ever did trick or treating back when I was like 9, and I was just like a soldier. Funny enough, I didn't know we were in the midst of like active combat at the time, so I wanted to go
Yeah.
as like a dead soldier. But then my mom was like, "No, don't do that. That's a bad idea in this current climate." So
Right.
didn't do that. And then it was actually like 2 years ago. I went to COD dressed up in like a suit and whatnot, a suit, a cane, and like a little medallion around my neck.
Mm.
I was like, you know what? I'm not sure what I look like, but I'm gonna let the people decide. And then as I'm walking around, people are like, oh, are you Lucifer? I'm like, yes.
Mm.
So
So
the first person who says what I am, that's what I'll be.
how have your plans been changed by COVID? Like, I know that I was just supposed to hang out with like one or two friends, but even now, like one of my friends' parents is still kind of like about even letting her do that. I like my parents are okay with it as long as it's a small group of people. Um, so we're still like we're still following guidelines and everything, but what about you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything to do other than like just watch more scary movies. Usually we go out trick or treating. Like I go out with my family, and then like I'll go with my friends and just hang out and whatnot. But like definitely with like the recent spike in the COVID cases, it's kind of like, do I really want to go ring some guy's doorbell? When somebody else just rung it. And who knows what the other kid would? These kids, they pick their nose, they eat their boogers, they don't know what they're doing. And they go around touching things and whatnot, and then I'm gonna go and touch it, and then I'm gonna like accidentally be like, oh, my eye itches, scratch my eye, and next thing I know, I got pink eye with COVID, and then I'm dead. And it's, I don't know.
This seems like a long series of unfortunate events that to happen to you. This is
Well, knowing my luck, I mean, it's just the kind of thing that would happen to me.
yeah. It's like just the situation of COVID. It's changed a lot of things, and yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just like the only
people
way my
even
plans have
going
changed
to
is that
be-
like the only way my plans have changed is the fact that like it's going to be a smaller gathering than what I'm used to. But
Yeah.
I usually like smaller gatherings in the end because it's more personal that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually thinking about like trying to throw a big like costume party this year. I remember thinking about it last year. I was like, next year it's 2020. It's gonna be a great year. Way to jinx myself, right? I was like, 2020, great fucking year it's gonna be, and I want to throw like a big like costume party and everything, but obviously that's not gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, are people even gonna get candy out this year?
So each town has like a different thing that they're doing. Like I'm not really sure about the details of it, but like each like town just being like, oh yeah, we could trick or treat, but only between this hour and this hour. And the only way to make sure trick or treat, you got to put up a sign in front of your door, or have your light on, or do yada yada yada, and then that will be sure that you are okay with trick or treaters coming to your house demanding candy.
Yeah.
Danny, are you dressing up this year?
I wanted to, but since I'm not sure if I'm even gonna go out, I don't know if I want to. Last year I dressed up as Alice Cooper, one of the greatest rock stars of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I dressed up as, but I don't know. Not many people got my costume. They thought I was just like some creepy Willy Wonka.
You see, that's why I stopped going as expressly Blackula, because no one understood it. Because
yeah. There was a couple like older folk who did like, they're like, oh, that's the Alice Cooper makeup, because it's a pretty like I guess understood makeup. Like it's kind of like it's not like
recognizable.
Yeah, it's more recognizable, I guess. So some of the older folk did understand it. Granted, Alice is like a '70s rock star. So yeah, but yeah, not a lot of like the younger people didn't get it. They're like, oh, creepy Willy Wonka. I was like, yep, that's what it is.
Also, you say younger people like you're not still young yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I'm in my 20s, but like I definitely don't feel like it. I feel like I'm definitely more closer to my like 60s or something.
Don't we all do that though? Like I refer to people who are the same age as me as that kid. Like they're not a kid. That's how I associate them in my brain.
I'm just more mentally mature than them.
I'm not mature. I'm just not up to date with like, the trends and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I did not get on Facebook until like the grandparents were on, by the time I got in, even like the parents were off of it. You know what I mean? I don't have like Instagram, all that other stuff. I don't use that shit. I don't have it,
I personally waited.
Old music.
I personally don't like that I didn't wait until I got older before joining up social media, because now like my Snapchat name, for example, is something that I made back in middle school, and it's just like, I want to change it, but I can't.
Yeah. It is what it is, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel really old though. I do feel, because I like my girlfriend or like my sisters will play music that's like popular or whatever. And I'm like, I've never heard this song before. I have no idea who the artist is. I'm just not up to date with, current trends.
That was me last year for Halloween. I visited one of my friends at a university, and we went to parties, and they were playing music, and I was like, I don't know what this is. I live under a rock. I have said that since high school. I have a really hard time keeping up with the current trends. So I feel you, Danny. I was talking to someone today because I actually got on the bandwagon of Among Us like right before it blew up, and I was so shocked because I am never on the bandwagon before.
You were on the bleeding edge. You were ahead of the curve.
It was mind blowing. I played this game. I thought it had been around for a while, and then the next time I went on my social media, which I don't use social media a lot, so it could have been 3 days, it could have been a week later. I really don't know. All of a sudden I saw all these memes and I was like, wait, people didn't know about this game before I did? Mind blown.
I also think it's like fairly telling about like the current times we live in. That like at the beginning of this year, everybody was like obsessing over like Animal Crossing and how like it's all happy, cheery. You bring your friends over to your island, you show them what you've done, all this good stuff. And nearing the end of the year, everyone's obsessing over Among Us, which is about lies, deception, and murder.
Also getting close to the election. Wonder if that had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Speaking of scary things, Jesus Christ, this upcoming election is going to be, as we all know at this point, is one of the most like important, influential, and like contested things to happen in probably like in modern history and probably in like in our generation's history. Like,
is it really though? Because like I feel like people were saying that about the last election and then the one before that, and I don't know. I feel like each one seems like it's like, oh, we're at the climax of our movie. You know what I mean? But like,
okay, but like, in no other election cycle has a president said the only way I lose is if they rig it. Like,
didn't he say that last election? He said that he's like, I know I'm gonna lose, but that's because it's all rigged.
But that was when he wasn't the president and didn't have any power or authority.
For me, I'm not even. I mean, I am looking at the candidates in the sense, but I'm more looking at what they're standing for. They are on completely different opposite sides of the spectrum, and that is something that, when you talk to older people, that didn't happen 20 years ago. There was not this much of a radical difference between the two parties.
Right.
And I think that's why people keep saying every year, like, this is the biggest election, is because the sides just keep getting further and further apart.
This is also very influential, like, not influential, consequential when it comes to like climate change and whatnot in policy. Because like this is the year where we either start making like radical changes or we just give in to having firestorms in Africa and like hurricanes every other day on our coastlines and all this different junk.
Right. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Oh, fuck. I had a thought and it just slipped away.
Still nothing?
It'll come to me.
Well, okay. You think of that. Let's kind of get back onto our main topic of Halloween. So I was talking about how I've been watching some psychological thrillers. I watched Cube. Is it The Cube or Cube? Recently. Have either of you guys seen it?
Haven't heard of it.
Okay, so the premise of the movie is basically people get trapped in a cube and they have to figure out how to get out. And when they go in between rooms, like there's different rooms that are trapped and other rooms are safe to go through, and they don't know how they got there. And there's like different ways to figure out how the rooms are safe. And it's a psychological thriller.
The Cube?
Mm-hmm.
Is it 1997 horror sci-fi film?
I think so. I can look it up.
The Cube. That sounds. I don't know. That sounds weird.
It is weird. It was very fascinating. Like I said before, it had me like I had a lot more questions than I was scared.
Right.
It was nice. Yeah, it's Cube, 1997, a horror sci-fi.
Speaking of like exciting movies that can make you jump from time to time, there's like this psychological thriller called The Platform. I believe it's still on
Mhm.
Netflix. It's a Spanish film, but there is English dub. And the movie is basically we're following our main protagonist as he's in this massive tower. The tower itself is a prison, and in the center of it, there is this platform that every day brings down some of the like. It's a platform of food. Every day, it goes down through all the levels. Everyone has 5 minutes to eat from it, as much as they want, honestly, and then it just goes down, down, down. The issue is on that platform there is enough for every one of the prisoners to get like a like equal share of food if they want it. However, no one's going to enforce the rule. So what ends up happening is the people at the top and in the middle eat most of it and leave nothing for the people at the bottom. So the
Mm.
movie talks about like human nature, selfishness, selflessness, and all these different concepts about like what are the extents people are going to go to like stave off hunger, be independent, do all these different things. And it's a really good like psychological thriller in that sense.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. There's it kind of reminds me of Parasite, how like it has that social commentary of like, look, this is the rich versus the poor type of thing, and
Mm-hmm.
um
Parasite was something else.
yeah, it was such a great movie. Such a great movie.
I love how the whole thing just hinged on father losing his footing and them all just falling right in front of the people who are living under the house.
Yeah.
Spoilers, mind you, if anyone's listening hasn't seen Parasite yet.
Yeah. You know, speaking of spoilers, I just watched Uncut Gems for the first time yesterday. And
What's that about?
what?
What's that about?
Have you like not heard of Uncut Gems? Or
Nope.
it's
Either
the movie, and really it's the movie with Adam Sandler. It was a really big film for him, basically. It's because Adam Sandler, like, he usually does like some really shitty comedy movies,
yep.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. And this one's actually, it was like it got really good reviews and a lot of people really loved it. And it is a great film, you know. Like I was very hesitant to watch it for the longest, mainly because I kept thinking, I'm like, I don't want to go see Adam Sandler try to be a real actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have too much like memories of like Jack and Jill and all that other shit. Like I'm like, I don't want to see him try to pretend to be a real actor. But he's actually really good. Like, he's really good as an actor, and he really disappears into the role. Like, like never at a point that I think I'm like, dude, that's Adam Sandler, you know, the guy from Jack and Jill or Click or some other shit. Like,
Oh
it was
God, I
really
forgot
good.
about Click.
Yeah, just another one of his horrible movies. But yeah, Uncut Gems. It was pretty good.
The
I
only
didn't.
thing I've seen of Adam Sandler recently has to be like this like one TikTok of him at like an award ceremony where he's like, and I'd like to thank all of my competition who will forever be known as the people who lost to fucking Adam Sandler.
Yeah, yeah. That was because of Uncut Gems. That was because of
Oh,
that movie.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to, but it's really good. It's really good.
Cool,
And
cool.
he also has a new movie that just came out called is it QB Halloween? I think it's on Netflix.
Hmm.
And I haven't watched it yet. I'm saving it for tomorrow, being Halloween. You know, so hopefully it's a good movie. I've heard. I don't know. I saw one of my friends say that it was better than Uncut Gems for like not. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, I get that. I plan on watching tomorrow like a bunch of like classics. Well, classics that I think like Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were Rabbit, and like Hocus Pocus, and just movies like that.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, does Nightmare Before Christmas count as a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
I consider a Halloween
Both.
movie. Um, just because Christmas has enough movies, like give Halloween one. um, but I feel like most people say that it's both.
Yeah, yeah.
I could
It's
see that.
definitely a both type of thing.
Like, it's such a good movie. Why even put it under one category? Like, you can watch it 2 times a year. It's fine.
Wallace and Gromit one, I know that as a kid, like, scared me senseless. And I don't know why it scared me, but I look back at the rabbit and I'm like, that might be the reason. Like, that were-rabbit was creepy as all get up. Like, clay animation movies, I feel like at their core are just horror movies for kids. Take Coraline, for example.
Oh yeah, hated Coraline. That scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Coraline.
I loved Coraline as a kid, but I understood why everyone hated it when we got older. Because I was like, oh, it was so cool. But everyone else is like, that was terrifying.
I loved Coraline. I still love it. I mean, I haven't watched it recently, but I don't have like bad memories of watching Coraline. I thought it was a great claymation movie.
Other mother was a spider who just like tried to trap Coraline in a web of her own desires, and it was just
no spoilers, but
yeah, Kevin with the spoilers.
That spider scene, like that's what got it for me. I feel like everybody has some concept of at least the button eyes. Like, why? No. You see, little kids should not be watching that.
That never freaked me out as much as I guess it should have, the whole button eyes thing. But I understood why other people are like, yeah, that could be a bit creepy.
Yeah. In hindsight, it's definitely very creepy. But I don't know. I still love the film.
Part of it might be because I do not like. This is gonna sound really weird. I hate the idea of pupils because they're literally just a hole in your eye, and I hate it. Yeah. And the iris is a muscle, which like kind of freaks me out too. So maybe that's part of the reason why I hate the movie is because I just don't. And then sewing too, like it just no, too much, too many things I do not like put in one movie.
Yeah. Eye stuff really freaks me out. I don't know, like even like when if I see someone with like I don't know something in their eye or like their eyes like a little bit like
or like weird contacts,
like just something within their eye, like it makes my eyes start to water because I'm like I don't know, I'm like I get kind of like not squeamish, but like I'm like very I don't know, I'm put off by stuff with like eyes and whatnot.
So like a thing that kind of sets me off when it comes to eyes is like seeing eyes in the darkness. Like just the mere concept of that is what like and I remember why I'm so scared of it. It's because of a movie that I saw when I was like a kid. My dad was watching one of like the live action movies of Doom. If you know what like the Doom game franchise is and how they got movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was watching one of their movies, and at one point these guys were like fighting like the monster or whatever, and it was in the dark, and all you could see was like its two eyes staring back at one of the like Spec Ops guys sent to like deal with the situation. Yeah. He was calling out saying, "Hey, are you my friend? Are you so and so?" And the guy's like, and you just hear nothing until like two more sets of eyes open, and then it lunges at him, and it's like, oh yeah, that's terrifying. Okay, it's a 6-eyed monster that could see me from the get-go, but I couldn't see it the entire time. Beautiful. I don't like that.
Right. What is the scariest film that you guys have seen, or what is not scariest, but what is the film that has scared you the most?
That would be, I think, the second Resident Evil movie.
Okay. What about it?
Just the concept of zombies as a whole constantly scares me. Like, I don't like the idea of, like, getting eaten or eaten alive, for example, which is why people who are like, oh, I'd love for a zombie apocalypse will happen, just like never make any sense to me because that just seems
we talked about that last episode.
Yeah, because that's just kill me now. I'd rather not. So yeah, like the second Resident Evil movie was definitely like a hallmark in my life of how just like no, that's like zombies ain't it for me. Nicole?
So The Walking Dead is like a no-go for you, like series.
Yep, no-go. Well, I tried watching the first season, I couldn't. After they ate the horse, no.
Yeah. That was episode 1 or 2, I think.
After they ate that horse, just ripped it to shreds, I was done with it.
You're like, nope. All right.
I don't really watch scary movies. I'm more of a haunted house person, to be quite honest. The only movie that I can say that I have seen all the way through that was a scary movie was Ouija, which was a really stupid movie. Yeah, my dad would make us watch scary movies when I was a kid because I'm the youngest of 4, so they didn't care about me. And they didn't care if I didn't want to watch the scary movie. So I don't even know what scary movies I have seen. Yeah, that was something, I guess, when you guys were asking about the traditions, I kind of forgot with COVID and everything happening and haunted houses not opening up. But that's kind of my tradition is me and my family would always go to a haunted house.
Now there's like haunted drive-thrus though.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, that seems weird, right? Like I don't know, like what's this? Because I remember thinking, I'm like, is it like on a track or something? You know, like when you go to the car wash, you're like on a track.
I
right?
think
So
the way it
track
works
moves you,
is
but
that
it's not, right?
Yeah, I think the way it works is that it's essentially just a bunch of people, well, in costume, alongside of this like winding road that you just drive through and get scared on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's safe, man. I don't think that's safe.
It's like
some people
someone hits the
overreact,
pedal.
right?
Yeah, someone hits the pedal.
Yeah, like what's to stop someone to be like just get really scared and then just go like fuck this, boom, hits the gas and just runs over like 7 people who were just trying to do work, Like they're like, man, I'm just trying to work, just trying to make some money over the pandemic. Now my ribcage is crushed.
That's what makes it real scary is that you don't know if you're gonna get run over.
That's the extra fear factor. It's the fact that like, well, he could just kill me.
I wonder if that's the job description.
What about you, Danny? What's like the movie that scared you the most?
I think the one that scared me the most was probably The Ring. I remember watching that when I was like probably like 6-7 years old, something like that. And just that scene of like I think that's the one like movie that I didn't even finish. I just remember watching that scene of like the little girl crawling out of the well and then out of the TV into the room, right? And that just did it for me. For me, that was it. I remember having like nightmares of her coming out of my TV and onto like my bed and like strangling me in my sleep for like weeks. And have never watched it. We'll never go back and watch it. And I heard there was a remake, but fuck that. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Danny,
Can't do it.
Danny, I think this is the year that you conquer your fears and you watch The Ring again. You can have the lights on if you want, but you gotta watch it again.
The thing is like I'm kind of like I feel like I'm gonna feel really dumb because like rewatching it like now might not be like what it was, like 20, 15 years ago, right? So like rewatching now, I'm gonna be just like pissed that I've been afraid of it all this time, and then I'll be like, dude, this is a stupid fucking movie. The CGI doesn't even look good, or I don't know. I'm just gonna like critique it, and I'll be like, I was afraid of this. I was afraid,
Now with your like movie-oriented mind, you just rip it to shreds.
Yeah. Have you like had that issue where like now that you've been taking like these film classes where you see like stupid cuts and edits or something that like just doesn't make sense?
I feel like that's like the plight of every person who becomes like a film major or like just like enjoys cinematography, where you inevitably lose the charm of the movie because you're now overcritical of all the elements that help make the movie.
Right. It's kind of like peeking behind the curtain, you know what I mean? Now you kind of know the secrets and it's like, oh, the magic is kind of gone a little bit,
You've seen that Oz, the great and powerful, is just a man behind the curtain.
Yeah. It's a little bit sad, but I try not to like think too much about it when I watch my whatever films I'm watching. Especially like I said, I've been watching a lot of slasher films and rewatching a lot of these slasher films. Like you realize that like the plot sucks, the characters suck. There's nothing like really that like it's like this movie sucks.
No human reacts like this. No.
Yeah, the dialogue is super like cheesy and weird, and granted it is an 80s movie, but still like I don't know. The only reason to go and watch it is for like the kills and the gore and like all that good stuff.
One thing that I like doing, so I took a film literature class at CUD, but that's the extent of my like film knowledge. And one thing that I really like noticing is the difference between the gore back then versus now. Like, just the way because they had to be so creative with the way that they would do like show gore back then, and now it's like they have all the CGI that makes everything look so realistic.
Yeah.
But I love, like, in Psycho, for instance, like how they show that, like they don't even really show him stabbing anyone.
All you see is a woman screaming, a knife, and chocolate syrup down the drain.
But you get the point of it, which is like, it's interesting. It's cool how they show that.
And to think that was like traumatizing for a generation.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was bring up. Like at that generation, at that time period when it came out in theaters, people like overreacted. They were like, "Oh my god, like how could you even show something like this? Like this is insane." You know, and now fast forward to today
where people are being disemboweled on screen.
Yeah, like pretty realistically, because even then, like some of the Friday the 13th movies, they came out like in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, you know. And even then, like you know, Friday the 13th is pretty like known for its like creative horror, you know, and its like kills and whatnot. And you look at it and like people were like pretty disturbed by those kills, you know. But if you go back and watch them now, you can tell it's like, dude, that's obviously like not the person. That's like an obvious, you know, doll or something, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty obvious now, and it's kind of weird to see that, you know.
So another movie that was like really impactful for the time but doesn't have the same impact it does now was like The Shining. Because like I remember talking to like one of my teachers in high school, because he saw The Shining in theaters with like his now wife, and he was talking about how like that movie deeply disturbed him. And then I saw The Shining for the first time like 2 weeks after that class, and I was like, yeah, wasn't that bad. I've seen worse. Like maybe it's just like our generation's desensitization towards all these things.
That's like part of it, I think.
I looked at The Shining and I was like, yeah, that was like a really good classic like psychological thriller. I don't really see how it was like disturbing at all. Yeah. Like I understand how in the time period what they did was groundbreaking and how they like kept like subverting so much stuff, but like I don't know. It's still a really good movie though, and I recommend everyone watches it.
Yeah, it's a great film, and actually I think 1 or 2 weeks ago maybe they released it in theaters for like the 40th anniversary, and I actually went to go watch it in theaters, and it was a great experience, you know. It's just a great film, like even though like it's billed as a horror movie, like it's not super like, it's not gory, you know what I mean? Like there's like 2 deaths really in the whole film, you know, and it's a 2.5-hour film, you know, and you would think like 2.5 hours that's going to be a lot of killing or something, but it's
just
really
a lot of buildup.
It's a lot of buildup. It's a lot of like showing this family slowly going crazy in this, you know, in this hotel, you know, and it's I love it. I love every part of that movie.
That's why I say it, like it's still groundbreaking, but it's just like, it is. Compared to like the traumatizing effect that it had during its time period compared to now, it's just like doesn't hold up.
It's insane. It's insane that like we really are desensitized now to like the amount of like what's that one film, The Exorcist? That was like insane.
I want to see that movie.
You go back and watch it now and it's laughable. You know. So,
like, to be fair, like movies like that have been memed so like much at this point. Like there've been so many spoofs and parodies of like The Shining or The Exorcist and all these different things that it's like it's very difficult for someone to see it and not already know what the story is going to be. So you can just make fun of it accordingly.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, yeah, another like big thing that I think is like, I think the good thing about Halloween, though, is the fact that it's just like once a year, you can basically wear whatever you want. Within like reason, obviously. It can't be like a nudist out there. But you can wear basically whatever you want, and it's perfectly like fine and socially acceptable. And I think that's a really good part of like Halloween. That like men could dress more feminine, women could dress more masculine, or do whatever the frick they want. And it's all perfect. It's all fine and dandy within the purview of like, well, it's the Halloween season.
Right. I love the whole aspect of like dressing up and decorations and whatnot. I love that whole stuff. Because like, I mean, as you can tell, I'm like really big into the whole horror stuff.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I just like, it's like you can't, go on a Monday morning and just go to work dressed like Blackula, you know what I mean? But
As much as
like
I'd like
on
to.
right, but like on this one special day, you know what I mean? If you go in dressed as Blackula, they won't be like, dude, what's wrong with you? Why are you dressed like Black Dracula?
Hmm.
You're like, well, it's Halloween, dude. Like, you
Unlike
know?
any other day,
Yeah,
it would be
exactly. It's
seemed
this
as
one
like what?
special day.
Yeah, you would seem crazy. But on this day, this one special day of the year, you can just be like, you know what? I'm going to go in there as a Disney princess, and if they judge me, well, they're not in the proper mindset. That's on
Right,
them.
right.
But any other day, I'd be locked away.
I also love
Exactly.
the community aspect of it. Like I love doing group costumes, even if it's just with one other person,
Hmm.
just because it's fun to like have, I don't know, have that matching kind of just to match with someone and to be able to just dress up and do stuff. I don't know. I just think it's fun to be able to dress up like you were saying. I don't
I
think you
Yeah.
need a reason to.
Yep.
Kids can dress up.
Right, right. We should make it more mainstream, right? Like instead of casual Friday, make it Freaky Fridays, right? Go in and dress up as like
Maybe not Freaky Fridays, but like, yeah, Creative Fridays might be a better way to frame it.
maybe.
I
That's another
remember
shitty Halloween film, isn't it? Freaky Friday.
probably, or better
Yes.
yet, the scary movies. I love a
Uh
scary movie. Like just like scare, like all the scary movies are bad, but they're all good at the same time.
they're so bad. They're
I
so
love those
bad.
type of films though, where they're just parodies of
Hmm.
art or
Like
something. Uh,
their literal only purpose is to critique the horror franchise of the time period. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like nothing else.
I am traumatized by that guy stuffing the
Oh
turkey. I
my
don't know if you
god, with
remember
his
that.
like
That's
babe.
it's
Oh
so
yep, that hand.
deformed little hand. It's I am traumatized by that.
Or better yet, the guy in the wheelchair. He's like hanging off the window silhouette, being like, "Oh, help me out." So here, take my hand. It's like, no, give me your other hand. No, this is my strong hand. Take that one. I'm not touching that. And
Yeah,
he's like fully prepared to just fall to his death and then like grab the hand, which I think is a bit ridiculous. But here we are.
yeah. No, I can understand it. I would not reach for that arm. I'd just let go.
Just accept your fate.
Yep. Give me your other
Yeah.
hand, or you're basically killing me.
I mean, you made enough stupid decisions to get into that point anyway.
Exactly. Like this is just like similar to like how you would have caught COVID trick or treating. It's a rather unfortunate series of events that led you to that point anyway. So you might as well like
Yeah,
finish it out. Oh, but like
yeah.
talking about group costumes, we mentioned that a little bit before we got into the scary movie thing. Is I remember one year I was obviously wearing my
You're
Black Panther.
Blackula.
Yeah. But my other friends at the time weren't exactly costume oriented. So what we did is that one of them had like a horse head, like one of those plastic horse heads. So one of them put that on. He was in the front, and then the rest of them jumped under a sheet and just like walked around as like a horse with me in the front leading them. So it was just like this like vampire walking around the neighborhood
With a
with
horse.
with a horse, and it was
So
just three people under a sheet.
this was a very last minute thing.
Yeah, it was an incredibly last minute thing, and I just walked around with them, and it was a good time, and people stared at us, but it was fun.
Yeah, that's so much fun. I think Halloween is like I said, it gives you that freedom to be somebody else. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I definitely love getting into like you put the costume on and you get into the persona of like, hey, this year I'm a rock star, or I'm like a serial killer, or I'm like I'm Jason, I'm Michael Myers, and getting in that like I don't know, I just love that.
See,
Yeah.
you're naming all the horror people. I like I like all the fun, kind of recognizable people. So like I 2 years ago, me and one of my friends went as Mike Wazowski and Sully, and then another one of our friends went as Boo.
That's so fun, and it's funny. You can kind of tell a lot about people's personalities by their costumes. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
type of person you are, kind of like, or your costume tells like the type of person you are. You know?
Wait, then what does me dressing as like an obscure character from like the 70s say about me?
Blackula.
Mhm.
It says that you're an individual, Kevin. You're an individual. You think outside the box. You know,
I'll
it
take that.
reinforces stereotypes maybe a little bit, but you think outside the box.
Do
I'll-
you? You haven't
I'll-
changed
I'll
your
take that.
costume.
Hmm?
Do you? You haven't changed your costume in years.
Look. I
He's
have like
simplistic. It's the love of simplicity.
understand this. I have like a cape and like this voodoo staff that I kept in my closet that I only get to use once a year. Unless I can find a costume that incorporates both the cape and that staff, I ain't doing it because I bought those things for them to be used. And I'm not going to let them just sit there in my closet accumulating dust. And plus, wearing a cape is fun. I love wearing capes.
Fun. It is so much fun wearing capes.
The like costume designer for The Incredibles would like hate me for it.
He
would say no capes.
Never wear capes.
But
you killed.
In this instance, I'm wearing a cape because god damn it, I love it. I love it when I walk, how it flows behind me, how I can grab it and hold it up to my face like this. It's amazing.
Just don't get too close to any fans or things that suck air in, and you're fine.
Like any jet turbines, any
Yeah.
jet turbines are like sucked into a vortex. That was one that happened to a guy with a cape. Yeah, it can be a bit bad, but as long as I'm careful about it, it's fine.
And Kevin, I'm just gonna say that most people do buy costumes every year.
And I've saved so much money by not being most people. See?
Yes,
by being an individual.
I'm just trying to let you know that I have several. My family has a box of costumes that just sits and gathers dust. So, I mean, at least you are saving money.
I'm being practical.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the rest of y'all going out and buying into capitalism like that, thinking you need a new costume every year.
I try to make mine or piece it together. So the only thing that I actually needed this year was a skirt, and I'm making it, and so it cost me like $7.
2 years ago, I was a pirate, so I just reused the same like pirate outfit for my Alice Cooper outfit last year. Because I mean, he kind of has that same. All I added was like the top hat and the fucking the cane that he uses sometimes. So I'm not wasting money either, Kevin. All right, don't look down on me with your. I'm using the same costume every year.
Yeah.
Never said I was looking down. Just looking. Just looking critically. Critically.
All right.
Let's put it that way. Also, as we near the end of our little conversation, Danny, would you like to take the reins on the silver lining?
Sure. I don't know. Like, I think that there's a lot of things that, you know, I mean, if you have nothing to do this Halloween, you know, if like, you know, you're afraid of going out because of COVID or, you know, because for whatever reason, you know, you don't feel like going out, you know what you can do? You can download Disney Plus and start watching the first episode of The Mandalorian streaming right now.
It's like season 2 came out, right?
Season 2. Yeah, it started streaming today, the first episode. Now, it's not the whole season. It's only episode 1. So but you can still go back, rewatch all of season 1, and then go right into episode 1 of season 2.
Why do you think
next episode should probably drop next week? Because it's an amazing show, okay?
What's the premise? What's it about?
Have you not seen Baby Yoda? Baby Yoda? Like, it's everywhere. Baby Yoda is everywhere, all right? That should be enough for people who don't know anything about Star Wars.
Just these little things to bring you joy, like a little freaking puppet no one knows its name. It's just called Baby Yoda, but it's brought joy to so many people.
Yeah, it's a really good show too. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna love it. You know, I know some people did not like the newest Star Wars trilogy, but this is it's really good. It's great. I love the show. It's boom. I don't know what else to say about it. It's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I do want to say that we are not sponsored by Disney Channel, Disney Plus, or Walt Disney's Frozen Head. We are not sponsored by them, so this is not this is not
It's not an endorsement. We just really like the show.
I just really love the show.
And I've seen it too, and I can also attest to really liking the show. Like, it's good. I do need to watch the first episode of season 2 though, because I'm so excited to see what happens. And like, Baby Yoda will hopefully gain more control over his powers or some junk.
It is like, this episode was great. I think you'll love it. I think a lot of people will love it. It was great, and it's a little bit longer too. I know some complaints from the show for the last season where the episodes were a little bit short, and this one's close to an hour long. So, go check it out. It's a great show. Again, we're not sponsored by Walt Disney's Head, Frozen Head.
All right, and with that note, I'll leave y'all with this. As I've said before, despite how dark the clouds may be, remember to always search for the silver lining.